Wide Podcast.
Lord, thank you for using me. Lord, thank you for using me. Lord, thank you for using me. Lord, thank you for using me.
It started with my past may have to say.
Lord, thank you for using me.
That was then. You can take the past and make it right.
Lord, thank you for using me.
This is now. It started with my past may have to say.
Lord, thank you for using me.
That was then. You can take the past and make it right.
Lord, thank you for using me.
This is now. Use me. Use me for your glory. Use me.
Lord, thank you for using me.
Daily. Use me. Use me for your glory. Use me.
Lord, thank you for
Use me
using me.
daily.
Lord, thank you
Use
for
me
using me.
daily.
Lord, thank you for
Use me.
using me.
That was then. This is now.
Lord, thank you for using me.
That was then. This is now.
Lord, thank you for using me.
It started with my past may have to say. That was then. You can take my past and make it right. This is now. It started with my past may have to say. That was then. You can take my past and make it right. This is now. Use me. Use me for your glory. Use me. Use me daily. Use me. Use me for your glory. Use me. Use me daily. Use me. Use me for your glory. Use me. Use me daily. Use me. Use me for your glory. Use me. Use me daily. Use me. Use me for your glory. Use me. Oh Lord, please use me. Lord, use me. Oh, use me. Oh Lord, use me. I surrender for you to use me. Oh, use me. God, use me. In spite of what it may have been, Lord, use me. Clean me up inside and use me. I don't mind. I don't mind. I don't mind for you to use me. Use me for your service, Lord, use me. Use me for your service, Lord, use me. Use me for your works, Lord, use me. Use me, Lord. I give everything I have. I will give it unto you. I give everything I have in me, and I will give it up to you. I give everything I have, and I will give it up to you. I give everything I have, I will give it up to you.
Hello, and welcome to Late Night with Dr. T. I'm your host, Tranell Steward, and thank you for joining me tonight. We have a good show for you like we do every Tuesday. And this show airs every Tuesday at 10:30 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, following the Pastor's Time with Dr. Paul Kelly and his lovely wife, Marcia Kelly. They had a very good show this morning. Just a few minutes ago, he ended, but oh my goodness. If you did not see it or did not hear it, make sure you tune in Wednesday, because we have the replays of all the shows from tonight playing again on Wednesday. So definitely want to tune in for that. All right. Positive Power Network is really bringing it with the new shows and the events that are coming up. We got some good things coming up. Yeah, y'all. I say this every week. If y'all are not connected and not following Positive Power, you're going to be missing out on some things. So make sure you stay connected. We actually have 2 awesome hosts joining the network with their shows starting next Monday. We have Ree hosting Pep Talk with Ree coming on at 8 p.m. Now, if you followed Ree on the Weekend Pep, she did that the Facebook Live. And, just a awesome show, praise, empowerment, and prayer. Just a lot of empowerment, good music, everything on there. So, I'm looking forward definitely to what she's bringing to Positive Power. And you guys, that you're in for a treat. It's going to be a very, very good show. Pep Talk with Ree. All right. So that's at 8 o'clock on Mondays, live here on Positive Power XXI. Next after her is 9:30 with the lovely Miss Pamela Zion Jones from the Love Movement, and her show will start at 9:30. So you guys make sure you are tuning in on Mondays. If you think Tuesdays or something, we just took it up a notch with our Monday evening. So excited about that. If you are an artist and you're looking to get your music aired on this show, or looking for an interview, simply just email me at youfirstmedianetwork@gmail.com. That's the letter U, the number 1, stmedianetwork@gmail.com. I love getting new music and putting a spotlight on artists and community leaders that are making a difference and spreading the love of God wherever they can and whatever time they can, using every opportunity to do that, because that's what it's all about. All right? For those who don't know, right, I am the president and CEO of You First Management Enterprises, a management company that takes on some of the best Christian entertainers and entrepreneurs. We have quite a few clients up for some awards. Specifically, I'll talk about the VOGMA, Voices of Gospel Awards, and just call these out because the voting is open now, and I want you guys to go out and vote at VOGMA, VOGMA.org. All right. We got Kent Osborne for Male Artist of the Year and Christian Hip Hop Artist of the Year. We got Trent Gaddison up for Contemporary Artist of the Year, Male Artist of the Year, and Praise and Worship Leader of the Year. We got Ree for New Artist of the Year and Female Artist of the Year. We have Slim VZ for the Rap Album of the Year, Blood Brought, and Christian Hip Hop Artist of the Year. We have Brandon Watson, New Artist of the Year, Male Artist of the Year, and Contemporary Single of the Year. Last but not least, on the VOGMA nominees and of You First Management clients is the Batman of Radio, Mr. Jerry Royce Live, Positive Power XXI. For Radio Announcer of the Year. That he should have that in the bag. It doesn't matter the outcome. He is the Radio Announcer of the Year. He is the CEO of the year. And he deserves those praises because he's doing an awesome job in this ministry that God has given him. So big ups to everybody that was nominated for the Voices of Gospel Awards. I'm so proud of each of these guys. It's amazing to see what God is doing in and through them. And there's more. We got a lot of different awards that the artists are up for, but it will take too much time here, so I'm going to encourage each of you, if you have not done so yet, to go and like the You First Management page on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and check us out at youfirstmanagemententerprises.com as well, to get updates and things like that first, because we update the Facebook page regularly, so you want to definitely make sure you stay tuned into that. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started with the show because I'm so excited about my guest tonight. She has an amazing testimony that I believe that will touch all those who hear. But before we bring her on, we're going to take a short music break. This is Middle of It by Ree. We'll be right back after this.
Worldwide Podcast.
Didn't know I would find my way. Seemed like all that I had was gone. Tell me how to move on. Then you decided faith for me took me into destiny. My strength alone, so into you I journeyed on. I sat each night and I wondered why. Dried my eyes every time I cried. Saw my life pass before my eyes. I realize in the middle of it, I made it through the storm. In the middle of it, I made it past. Oh, in the middle of it, I made it through the fight. In the middle of it, I made it. Lord, you kept me in the middle of it. Look before me and I would see something new right in front of me. Look behind and I could not believe what was happening to me. I put everything that I had in you. I saw you make everything brand new. You took my world, turned it upside down. You placed me on higher ground. In the middle of it, I made it through the storm. In the middle of it, I made it past. Oh, in the middle of it, I made it through the fight. In the middle of it, I made it. Lord, you kept me. In the middle of it, I made it through the storm. In the middle of it, I made it past. Oh, in the middle of it, I made it through the fight. In the middle of it. Lord, you kept me in the middle of it. Lord, you kept me in the middle of it. Lord, you kept me in the middle of it. Lord, you kept me. Lord, you kept me in the middle of it. Never left me right in the middle of it. There I felt you right in the middle of it. Changed my story right in the middle of it. You were there right in the middle of it. Giving me love right in the middle of it. Giving me peace right in the middle of it. Giving me joy right in the middle of it. Never give up on me in the middle of it. Never left me lonely in the middle of it. You were there to hold me in the middle of it. Lord, you blessed me in the middle of it. Came to save me right in the middle of it. Made me whole right in the middle of it. Let me know right in the middle of it. You had control right in the middle of it. Saved my life right in the middle of it. Healed and delivered right in the middle of it. Changed my heart right in the middle of it. Changed my mind right in the middle of it. Saved my family in the middle of it. Saved my marriage in the middle of it. And kept my children in the middle of it. Spoke a word of life in the middle of it. In the middle of, middle of, middle of it. In the middle of, middle of, middle of it. Middle of, middle of, middle of it. Spoke a word of life in the middle of it.
All right. That was Middle of It by my girl Ree. That song never gets old to me. All right, y'all. I know it don't get old to y'all. I remember when that, oh, never mind. I'm about to take a trip down memory lane by myself. But anyway, it's time for our guest of the evening. Apostle Rosa Martin is with us tonight. And you all know my motto, can't nobody tell our story better than we can. So we are going to jump right in and welcome Apostle Rosa Martin to the show, y'all.
Well, thank you for this opportunity. I'm Dr. Apostle Rosa Martin at Lemon Springs Road, and our church is New Birth Harvest Church. Yeah. And just want to tell you a little bit about my story. Just want to say that we did start 5 churches, and I'm married to Daryl, Apostle Daryl Dean Martin. We was married on the 25th of March in 1995. Been married 23 years, ministering about 20 years. I have a doctorate in divinity theology, a Catawba Bible Way, under Dr. Howard has passed. I just want to say that I did work in the school system, teacher assistant, and I have 1 girl, 3 boys.
Oh, okay.
James Dennis, Latricia Dennis, Jamal Dennis, Charles Dickens, and I have grandchildren, Zari Madison, Jaciana, and Naomi Thompson. Anyway, I want to just tell you a little bit about my story. A lot of women that have gone through some type of abuse, to let them know that they can live past their pain. And I am one of those young women born into my family, Naomi and Leroy Hayes. But my father and my mother, they could not get along in a relationship. My dad was overly possessive and combative, and et cetera. And so my mom just decided that she would take her kids and leave North Carolina, and or leave Baltimore and go to North Carolina. And anyway, he followed her here, and life was just unbearable because my dad, even though my mom was granted a divorce, he had still some visiting rights. And, I remember in the beginning I could not talk and tell anybody about the terrible things that happened to me. But God let me know that pain was my purpose, and to express to a lot of young, women out there of different ages that no matter what comes your way in life, God is able to deliver you and heal you and set you free from all of that. I remember, yes, ma'am, and amen. But I thank God that He has brought me through a whole lot. And I'm going to share some of my story with you. It's a horror story all the way through.
Let me pause you just 1 second, Apostle.
Okay.
So your manager shared with me a little bit about your story, and I was able to see a video of the interview that you had regarding your experience with death. And please take your time with this. I really want you to tell us a little bit about that experience. And so I think that it can be inspiring, especially to the listeners today, coming from where you come from in your walk and where you are now. So if you could just go into that a little bit for us, we would appreciate that.
Well, it just started like even at birth, when I was just an infant. My dad was so combative that he was fighting my mom in the bed, and I was an infant. I got cut in my forehead with a knife that not real deep, but enough to leave a scar. And from that point on, just it was like a domino effect. Not only what did my father not only combative to my mama, but he was very unfaithful to her. And so she just decided she would just take us and from North Carolina and bring us into Baltimore. Leave Baltimore, come to North Carolina. Anyway, we wound up back in Baltimore, living in Baltimore City. And he was granted permission to see his children. And it was on one of those occasions that my father came to our house. Now, I know that I remember being around like 8 years old, and I remember my sister or one of them was supposed to be watching us, and they went out of the house. Well, anyway, my dad came, and of course, when he knocked on the door and he said, let him in, I let him in. My sister was sitting, she was upstairs, right near the top of the stairs, but a way out of view a little bit. And it was at that time my dad came into the house, opened the door, he came in, and he sat down on a couch that was right in front of the rails of the steps. And I could see my sister, as I said, I could see her at the top of the steps. And my dad began to treat me like an adult. In other words, he began kissing on me in my mouth. And I remember, I didn't know what alcohol was, but I remember it was a foul smell. And my dad actually committed incest and with me at 8 years old.
Wow.
And it messed my mind up so bad. I did not know. And my little body, of course, was in a lot of pain. But I had a dad that I do remember somewhat about how he would beat us. And he used to take our heads and put our heads between his legs and beat our bottoms. And that could go on for a long time. And one of the things that I remember is when he got finished, I actually could take my hands and feel the lumps from the welt on my body. And I would take off, run upstairs, jump in the middle of the bed, and I would talk to God, and I would tell God, please let him be finished. Please let him be finished. And I would say that repeatedly. But anyway, my dad, he actually committed incest with me, and I was just a little girl. But it was something about, for some reason, I knew to try to protect my sister. So I kept trying to look at her, even though I was crying, and it was just a horrible, painful experience. I would look at the steps because I could see through the rails, and with my eyes, I was trying to tell her, please don't come downstairs. Because if she did, I just felt like he would do the same thing to her.
Yeah.
And so after he molested me, of course, he threatened me he threatened me and told me that, if I told my mom what he was going to do. Now, you got to understand, my dad would beat you until you would actually feel the lump from the belt. Oh, and sometimes it would cut your skin. And he scared me so bad that I did not tell my mom what he had done to me until I was at least 18 years old.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, when I got older, I would tell God in prayer, when I get older, I'm gonna get a gun, Lord, and I'm gonna shoot my dad, and before I shoot him, I'm gonna tell him I remember. And I remember I used to say that repeatedly over and over again. And to me, 18 seemed to be grown, because that was the number I chose all the time. And I would tell God, I would say, when I get 18, I'm going to get a gun, and I'm going to tell my dad I remember, and I'm going to shoot him. And I grew up with that inside of me, which caused me to have a whole lot of, you already know, a lot of mental, emotional, and, just depressed.
Yeah.
I would be in a crowd. I would be with some friends, and I would feel lonely there. But I would always tell myself as though they always felt like I was there, present with them in the room. But a lot of times I was living in my problems. I was living in my pain. I was living in these horrible secrets that was causing my life to just spiral all out of control. But anyway, I jumped up to tell you that about 18, but my dad raped me at 8. And of course, not long after that, I was playing with my friends, and they had this thing about dusk dark. So it dusk dark, before I got there, we had to be in that house. And I started getting ready to get a little, and I was rushing home, and me and my friends, and these two grown men, they kidnapped us, and they took us up. I remember going up some stairs, and up into a room, upstairs, and then it was like on the side of a couch where people were sitting. On the other side was the bathroom, and it was in the other side was the bedroom. And I remember having the other young man to sit on that chair there while he raped first. So he raped here a 13-year-old girl and a 12-year-old girl. And I just hate to be very descriptive, but I thought my body was being ripped inside. It was so horrible that I just felt like I was torn inside. Yeah. And of course, I was always kind of thin, but my friend, she had like a nice figure for her age. She did. And what bothered me, even though I knew what was bad had happened to me, I was afraid for her because they kept her in there so long. But she was kind of more filled out than I was. And after the rape, they put us in the bathroom, locked us up in the bathroom, and we could actually hear them in the hall area talking about, they were trying to figure out what to do with us because it was breaking day. And they locked us up in that bathroom and having a conversation. This is what I want to say about that bathroom. It was a roof, and the only thing that you could see was a partial part of the yard, and then it was the alleyway. And we couldn't get out on the roof because the window was so small. We couldn't get out on the roof. Yeah. And so we were looking. We were sitting in there with our clothes torn. We'd have been raped. And we were looking at this little window that really didn't give us enough space to crawl out on. So I'm sitting in there holding my clothes. I'm crying. And, of course, I'm bleeding. And she, likewise, has been raped. And we're sitting there holding one another and holding our clothes together, and we were just crying. And because we could hear them out there in the hall area talking about, now we got to figure out what we're going to do with them. So, they was talking about doing away with us, killing us. And I remember sitting in there and understanding what was going on. I remember crying, and she was crying. And we were holding one another and holding our clothes together. And like I said, I was looking out that window, that little area, but nothing was there. And we just knew we were going to die. And so it was around about that time, it was another voice we began to hear. And the man was Mr. Milton. And he came in, but he was like the neighborhood drunk. He was always drinking. And so he must have known these young men, because he came in through that door, and he came up the steps. And we didn't really know that he came up the steps until he started messing with the doorknob. And he was trying to open the door. He was ramping and raiding and just carrying on. And he was telling us to open his door, cursing and going on. But he didn't really know. I think he was asking him, who's in there? Because he really didn't know who was in there. But it was this man that came in, knew these people, and was trying to use the bathroom. Little did we know that while he was out there turning on that doorknob, that he was the one that was getting ready to save our lives. And so he was out there trying to get the door open on the outside, trying to get the door open. And we are in there scared to even turn the knob. And finally, he gets the door open. And when he got the door open, I heard a loud voice in me. It was so real. It just said one word, and it was run. But it was loud. And my friend, Maureen, she was a little bit more heavier than I was. And so I was holding on to my culotte, which is the little skirt, little thing we wore, and I was holding on to her, grabbed a hold of her hand. And all I could do was follow the command of that voice. And I ran down the stairs, pulling her. And as I was running down the stairs, then they began to see that we were running. But because we started running before they could get up, we made it down the stairs, and we came out through the stairs into the dining room. And right out through the dining room was the kitchen, and then right out through that was the back door. Now, as I was telling you, there was no one. There was no one out there whatsoever in that alleyway, and no cars or nothing, no one that we could see. And anyway, we're running, and I'm so scared to look back, because I just feel like if I look back, they're going to snatch me, and they're going to grab me, and again, and her. And all I could think about was just keep running. Don't look back. Just keep running. And so we got out of the back door and ran down the alley. Now, one of the things that I told you just a few seconds ago was that we looked down the alley, and you could see down the alley, and there was no one in the alley. But when we ran out of the yard into the alley, it was a police officer sitting out there in the car, not far.
Okay.
And we ran into him crying. He saw us running and holding our clothes, and he jumped out of the car. But this is what gets me to this day. I know I looked out that window. I know even when I started running, first we didn't see him, and then I saw him. He was sitting in that car. And he jumped out of the car, and he could see we were scared and crying, and he put us in the police car, and he began asking us questions, and we told him that what the men had done to us. So he called for some backup, and he got the 2 men.
Oh.
And so they took us home. We had to go to doctor. We had to go to the hospital first to be scanned and taken care of, and then our parents were able to take us home. And my mom, she lost it, and her mother as well. But we, after that, nobody got us no kind of therapy or nothing. So here I am.
Well,
Um,
Apostle. Let's, for the sake of time, I just want to fast forward just a little bit on how that experience, what you had experienced in your childhood, and fast forward to when you were having the experience of death, when you went through that process. I know there were suicidal thoughts and different things like that. Before we do go into that, I'm going to take a quick break because we got some. This was a heavy story, and I definitely want to.
I'm sorry.
No, it's no apologies. I definitely want to take a quick break and bring you back on to finish up and just talk about that experience. Okay, so we're going to take just stay on with us. We're going to hear from Trent Gaddison. This is Revival. You guys stay with me. Dr. Rosa Martin will be on with us right after this break.
Okay.
You're listening to Positive Power 21, Christian media on late night radio.
I'm longing for a revival. inside of me. Oh, revival inside of me.
Amen. Amen. That was Revival by Trent Gaddison, one of the artists up for awards under the Youth First Management. So you guys look out for him. Check him out. Check out some music he has available now. He got some new music coming out as well. So make sure you do that. All right. So now we are on, if you're just joining us. We have been talking with Apostle Rosa Martin, and wow, what a powerful testimony experience. If you guys are just tuning in, make sure you go back and listen to the podcast in the morning. This will air again on Wednesday morning. You guys can check it out there as well. All right, so we've been talking with our guest, and she's been sharing a little bit about her testimony. Wow is all I can say. You know, wow is all I can say, but I do know that we serve a good God, and I know that this experience that she had has made her into the person that she is today, and I know that portion is a blessing. Apostle, please share, and we're going to just start where we left off at. Briefly share about the experience from where, you know, the past had affected you as an adult, and where you went into those suicidal thoughts and a result of that.
Yeah. I just started drinking and then being with the wrong crowds and trying to self-medicate. And I'd be around people, and I would still feel like I was isolated in that room. And I was living inside myself and stuff like that. And so I got really tired. But the Lord, and I say that the Lord gave me my son because I was suicidal for a long time, trying to think of different ways to kill myself. And sometimes I was started, but the Lord wouldn't allow me to die. And I just want to say that at this point, at one point, I just became so, I was so depressed that I went to a doctor, and the doctor gave me some sleeping pills. And he said all I needed was because I didn't have a son, a little boy. And actually, he kept me alive because it was like he gave me a reason to live, so I could protect him and be there for him. But at the same time, I had a lot going on inside of me. And I was trying, and I did a good job taking care of him. But at the same time, I was always plotting and planning on how to kill myself. And then so one day I just, his aunt lived downstairs in the apartment below, and I left the door open, and they punched down to sleep. I call him Punch, because when he's young, he started blowing his hands out. And I laid him down to sleep, and that was the day that I had decided, you know, God, it's just too much, because I was kidnapped again and raped. And then I think this man was going to sell me to people. I don't know what he did, but same way that voice that told me to run, I heard it. And God saved my life because the snow was out so deep he couldn't catch me. He could not catch me. And it just kept going on, one thing after another. And finally, I just decided, you know, God couldn't, there's no way God loved me or anybody. It was just terrible. Every time I turned around, something horrible was happening to me. And so I was living with a lot of depression and anger and anxiety, a whole lot of stuff. Anyway, whenever he raped me in the cold on the eyes, all kinds of stuff. And by that time, I just told God, you know, I said, it's no way in the world you love me to allow all of this evil stuff to happen to me. I know I couldn't stop it. And it just kept happening. I'm writing a book now. It just kept happening over and over again, all kinds of stuff. And so I didn't want to live anymore. I went to see the doctor, and I asked him, to help me because I wasn't feeling well, and he gave me sleeping pills. So I went home. I went back home, and I took care of my son like always. I put him to bed, and it was that particular time that I told God, I said, God, I can't live in this world. I can't live in your world no more. I can't take it no more. And I was just going through a whole lot, and I'm just really pressing through, leaving out a whole lot of information because we don't have time. But anyway, I was at my peak with life, and I just felt like life wasn't worth living because every time I turn around, somebody's trying to hurt me. That just destroyed me. And so I took those sleeping pills that he gave me. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yeah, you went out a little bit, but it's fine.
Okay. And so those sleeping pills that he gave me to rest, I took those sleeping pills. I took every one of them in the bottle, every one of them. I don't know how many it was, but I took every one of them. And then I got on the bed, and I laid beside my son. But before I got in the bed, I opened up the apartment door because his aunt lived downstairs. And I said, well, she'll come up because she'll see the door open, and she'll come and she'll take care of Punch. She'll raise my baby for me. And that was my plan. And so I took up the whole bottle of the pills, every pill in the bottle. And I went and sat in a corner and watched my baby on the bed. I was watching and looking at him, and I was sitting in the corner. And I knew I was going to die because I took all of them. And then I had an out-of-body experience. I cannot explain it to you except for I was standing in the corner watching my son's aunt and his dad trying to, they had one under each arm. They was holding me up, and they was slapping on me, and they was talking and saying something, but I couldn't hear them. But I was watching them in the corner, and I was trying to figure out how can I see my whole body if I'm in the corner? How can I see everything they're doing? And I was just standing in the corner watching them, and I couldn't hear them, but I knew what they were doing by watching what they were doing, and they were slapping me in the face, and my feet was dragging the floor, and they were talking loud. Even though I couldn't hear it, I knew that they were trying to revive me. But I couldn't figure out how I was in the corner watching them with a full body, them doing all this to my body. And so when they couldn't get me to wake up, what they did is they went and they put some water in a tub, and they took me from that little living room area and took me into the kitchen, and through the kitchen into the bathroom, and they put my body in the water. And when they put my body in the water in the tub, I saw my chest just do a real quick jerk. And like I was watching the whole thing, and I saw my body do just a real quick jerk, and all of a sudden I was no longer here. I was no longer on the earth. I was in a real dark place that seemed like where coals or something like that was being burned, because it was so dark in there, like the smut from the coals that would come off of coals was laying on my body, sitting like clothes. And I could feel all of the blackness, all of the deep dark. Now, since then, when the Lord brought me back, I have not seen darkness like that. I have not seen that deep dark like that anywhere since I've been back. But while I was there, this deep dark, thick dark, and it was like form-fitting my body. But it was I didn't have a body. Well, I didn't know if I had a body or what, but I knew whatever it was fitting my legs and my arms, and it was like form-fitting. And it was just pure black. You could see absolutely nothing. And so I'm walking in this thick darkness, and I'm really afraid. I'm so afraid. I just didn't know what to do, and I realized that I had succeeded at that time in killing myself, and that was it. I was still my own doing, and it wasn't I wasn't going to be able to get any help. And the fear, the type of fear I felt, that if I was alive, I would have had an instant heart attack. And I remember my body moving in this form-fitting black, thick darkness. And I was so afraid. And so I began to say these words as I was walking in the darkness, the deep darkness. And I couldn't ask God to forgive me for some reason or save me. I couldn't say those words, but the words that I was able to say to him was, I was describing to him how afraid I was. The deep fear, the fear that when I say that if I was alive, I would have had a heart attack, I would have really had a heart attack because it was just so overwhelming. You couldn't see nothing, but I could feel it form-fitting my body as I was walking. And I began I got to a certain part, but all I could say to God was, all I could say to him was how afraid I was. I could not I couldn't ask him to forgive me or none of those things. And as I was walking, the smut from the I guess the furnace was just fitting me all over, and I was just walking in it, and I began to realize that I had sealed my own doom. And I wanted to turn around and go back, but I couldn't go back. It was like I wasn't permitted to go back. I could only move forward. And I knew that I was moving into the pit. And I just kept telling Jesus how afraid I was. And I was getting towards the flame of it. And like I said, if I had a heart, I would have died right there with a heart attack. But I couldn't turn around. I just had to keep going. Then I knew I was getting ready to drop I knew I was going to drop into the lake. I knew it. I knew where I was headed, and I knew I had messed up. And all of a sudden, I don't know how long the walk was, but they said they had my son's aunt had came upstairs, and she found me dead, and so she got some help, and she was trying to revive me, but she wasn't sure whether I was already gone, and she realized I was gone. They was trying to revive me, and nothing worked. And she said, "She's gone. We're going to have to go. We're going to have to get someone to come. She's gone." And it was at that point where they said, "She's gone," that my leg twitched a little bit. And she said to them, "She just moved." And I know at that point I was in this deep, dark place, and I was trying to get out. I was trying to wake up. I was trying to get out, and I could not. But at some point, my feet twitched, and they knew then that life was still in me, or came back in me. But the whole time that they were trying to revive me, I was standing in the corner looking at them with a whole body, but looking at my body. My toes were dragging the floor, and they tried to, and they laid me on that bed, and that was it. But God allowed my spirit to come back into my body.
Yes, and for good reason. God always has a plan. Despite what we go through and what we experience, God always has a plan. And I know I've heard many stories about, people have, going through death and actually having that experience and living to tell about it. And each time I hear about it, I'm like, I have to go down in prayer and thank God, because without those experiences, without someone to come back and say, I've had this experience, there's so many doubters, you know what I'm saying, that we need this story. we need to share these stories. We need to know that God is real. He's who he says he is. And we've had, and I think to me, it's like the closest that we come to touching him. You get what I'm saying? In this natural state. So, Apostle, we got a few more minutes. You've been ministering for a while. You've had the education, you had the experience, the leadership, and all that necessary to deliver the word of God to the masses, which is what you have dedicated your life to doing. I know that sometimes that things happen in our lives and they don't go as expected. We know God's in the blessing business. We know he's a rewarder of those who seek him, and he gives us a picture of the destination, but not always the process. So there are many people out there that would have been given up after going through the stuff that you went through. There are many people that have given up, and there are some people that are in their process. How would you encourage them, especially believers that are weighed down with life and ready to give up? How would you encourage them to stay connected to God and move through what they're going through?
Well, I want to use one of my like I said, it's a long story, but I just condensed it to the more of the things that I could say real quickly. And one of the things that I can tell you is that I remember when I would be sitting and I would actually see a demonic face on the wall, and it would get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until it would just scare me so bad. I would holler, Jesus, 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 and it would go away. And I began to realize that God was my help, because all I had to say was Jesus, 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 and it would go away. And I knew it was some power in that name. And I knew that God was real. And I knew that he could help me. And he did just that. I have such a long story. There's so much I can't tell. So I'm not jumping off the roof. There's all kinds of stuff. But when God gets in and he lets you know he is with you, I wasn't supposed to. You don't even have time to hear it all. I wasn't supposed to survive this. I wasn't supposed to survive this. I was raped repeatedly in life. From even strangers. And I just had a bad life. And I didn't know how to handle it, so I tried to self-medicate. That didn't work. It just created the problem. I would tell everybody, this is one thing I learned, and I always use this. When that face would come, it was so wicked on the wall. It would scare me so bad. My heart felt like it was going to just beat right out of my chest. I would say, Jesus, 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 and it would go away. I learned something from that. I learned that when I call on his name, things change. He was there with me, and he helped me through that process. He helped me to live. It's so much more. Because R.W. Schambach cast out demons out of me in a civic center from having so much trauma. And I mean, and it was so bad that when he called for them to bring me down there, they said I took my brother. I have a brother that's very tall. I'm a small person. And they said that I actually, when he tried to restrain me and, and try to take me down there, they said I literally picked him off of the floor and put him on the side. It was just so much. Them demons infiltrated my life. They dictated to me about death all the time. But I don't have time to tell you all that. All I can tell you is that no matter what, if I said Jesus, that was my help. That was my help. Just saying his name was my help. I still had some problems. They put me in a place, a asylum somewhere to medicate me. And my mama came and got me out and said, no, I'm going to take her to the preacher. And she took me to R.W. Schomburg. And he cast them devils out of me and set me free. Them demons that was plaguing my mind messing me up. I used to think about death. I'd be around people smiling, and I was thinking about killing myself. I thought about killing myself every day.
Yeah. Wow.
But
Jesus. But God. There is definitely some power in that name. There is power in that name. If we didn't learn anything from this show tonight, we gotta remember that. For all the listeners, for everybody that has heard this testimony, at the end of it all, Jesus, there's power in that name. And it means something to stay connected. Be connected and stay connected. There's a reason why he said, follow me. Stay close and connected, because there's things that he knows that we won't know. He sees the beginning from the end from the beginning, Alpha and Omega. He knows what's happening, the things that we don't know. That middle section, when we're going through our process, when we're going through our experience, there's things that we don't know that he knows. And if we're connected to him, he's holding our hand through all of that. And he's given us a way of escape.
Yes,
Jesus.
Yes, just that name. All I did, because it's just the most, it was demonic faith. It was horrible, and it made my heart race. Yeah. And I would say out of fear, Jesus, 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 and it would go away. And I began to learn something from that. I said, when I call on Jesus, it goes away.
Amen.
It goes away.
Amen. All right, Apostle. I'm gonna have you pray us out, if you will. I definitely loved having you on tonight. Such a powerful testimony, and just word for all the listeners. Very encouraging to know that you're still here with us, and God is using you mightily right now in this season, and he has a plan for you. And what you're doing by submitting to him, sharing your life with him to where he is in control, is just the ultimate, I won't even say sacrifice, but it's something to be admired, because now we know that God is with us. Now we know that there's power in his name. So I thank you for coming on with us tonight. Please, if you have any contact information that you want to share, you can do that now, and then just pray us out, if you will. Pray for the station and the listeners tonight.
Okay, well, they can dial 919-261-3498. And that's the number, because I have used it as a suicide hotline. I have many women that call me, and they're thinking about killing themselves, and I talk them out of it. And I pray with them, and I explain to them that they can live past their pain. Because God helped me, and He will help them. Precious Father, in the name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. First of all, I just want to thank you for such a great opportunity, and thank you for this great woman of God, this work that she's doing, that others may realize that there is a God that loves them, and He will heal them, He will deliver them, He will set them free. Father God, I thank you right now in the name of Jesus. I pray over everyone that is listening to tonight, and Father, that if they have had any encounter, Father God, I want them to realize that I have no pain. I have no worries about what happened to me, because when you healed me, you set me free, mind, soul, spirit, and body. And it is
Lord.
only, Lord, when I talk about it, I express tears. But you allowed that so that people will understand how bad it was, but it's not going to remain the same. And I just thank you right now in the name of Jesus. You did it for me, Lord. I know you can do it for them. Even if they're being battered by their spouse, or, oh God, if it's just something that's happening in a house with their parents, like it was with me. God, you brought me out. And I thank you for it right now in the name of Jesus Christ, Son of the living God. The same way you healed me, the same way you delivered me, I know you can do the same for them. I don't know their names, God. I don't even know their locations, but I ask you in Jesus' name to do it for them. The same you did it for me. Lord, I promised you a long time ago that I will use this testimony to get women free. And we have been successful, you and I, Lord, as partners, and I thank you for it. In Jesus' name. There's some lives.
Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Well, thank you again, Apostle. We will stay connected with you. Make sure you stay connected with us. We definitely love to, bring you back on again at a later date. All right. And continue to pray for the station as we continue to pray for you. All right. Folks, that is our show. I am Dr. T, and you're listening to Late Night with Dr. T. Make sure that you follow us, You First Management, on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And tune in next week because we're airing live here on Positive Power, XXI, every Tuesday at 10:30 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So make sure you guys are in the building, or in the place, in the bed, or whatever, and relax and ready for the show next week. Until then, I'll see you guys next time.
Amen.
You're listening to Positive Power 21, Christian media on late night radio.
Can you feel the power? Can you feel the power? Feel the power of XXI.
Positive Power 21.org Internet Radio.
You are listening to Jerry Royce Live Worldwide Podcast.
You take my pain and you turn it into life. You take my faults and you somehow make them right. You hear my cries when no one else did. You gave me strength when the world was caving in. 'Cause I was crumbling, I was stumbling, and you seemed to meet me there. I was breaking, did more taking, kept on living on. take my pain and you turn it into life. You take my faults and you somehow make them right. You hear my cries when no one else did. You gave me chance when the world was caving in. 'Cause I was crumbling, I was stumbling, and you seemed to meet me there. I was breaking, did more taking, kept on living on a prayer, but you still were there. I love you, I love you. I need you, I need you. I crave you, I crave you. I rest in your embrace. I love you, I love you. I need you, I need you. I crave you, I crave you. I rest in your embrace. Your beautiful grace. Beautiful grace.
You are listening to Jerry Royce Live Worldwide Podcast.